We brought a QR code. I hope this is big enough to scan. If not, please give me feedback, and I'm pretty sure the technicians can make it bigger. So, you heard Sébastien, Wiebren brought ideas. How did you like the rating and carbon tax for Gen AI idea?
Well, I think it's a great idea. I said in my talk that I was more focusing on the micro level. Like we have a very pragmatic view on what companies can do and how they can move along. So, for instance, for them it's a bit difficult to ask themselves, okay, is the AI that I'm going to use sustainable enough or not? The AI wave is so powerful, and the efficiency gains that you can produce with AI are so massive that it's just a question of survival at the company level, at the micro level. But now at the macro level, at the European level, I fully agree with what you said, and we need to put a system in place so that we can incentivize the best use of the low carbon systems, including AI, and we also need to be able to restore our sovereignty in Europe. But that's it's a big
challenge.
Big challenge, yes.
Challenge,
yes.
yeah.
And a lot of people have to make decisions, and it's very slow to move, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Okay, Wiebren, what is the feedback you generally get when you pitch this idea? Or did you pitch it before? I think you did.
No, I've not pitched it before, so it's the first time I pitched it. I created it a couple of weeks ago only, to be very honest, in a TNO session. We are a Dutch research institute, very well known in the Netherlands at least, called TNO, and we were there in an AI challenge, and we had a working group, and all of a sudden I said, well, what if we do it like that? And could we kind of steer on it then in a more pragmatic and a more structural way, a little bit with the stick and the carrot, right? So because up in the higher in the framework, there's also carrots there. It's not only the stick in the bottom, it's also a carrot that you get carbon credits if you reach the top level. So it's very much like in the car manufacturing, I would say, where also there was incentivizations going on if you would have if you would reach certain amounts of low emissions in your cars, right?
Yeah, yeah. Getting a lot of questions from the audience, so let's dive right in. Practically speaking, what is the minimum data infrastructure a mid-sized manufacturer needs to have in place before your solution can deliver meaningful results? I think this goes to you, Sébastien.
Probably. So there's no strict answer to that, because what we do is we provide mostly a service, and we build a data pipeline, let's say. If you compare to the world of big data in the past. So we are building the workflow of all the AI agents and data pipelines that can interact so that you can extract value from it. So it really depends. We have, our software is not, well, actually today our software, we still have a software with a front end and the classical carbon accounting software. But I believe this is not going to survive for many years forward. What we develop now is building bricks that can be used by the LLMs of our customers so that they get the logic of how you compute a carbon report, for instance. But so there's no minimum level. Let's say the minimum is that you start embarking on an AI journey and you start leveraging AI in your internal systems, and then we can help out connecting. But it's more like a service approach than a purely we come with a big software and then plug and play and then it works. That would be nice, but that's not the reality.
I think the next question goes to the same direction, but maybe for you both. For a small manufacturing company with limited resources, what would be the smartest first invest? ERP integration, machine energy sensors, or AI analytics? I think that's an interesting one.
Yes, it's an interesting one, and I'm going to give a generic answer again. Unfortunately, it depends. And that's what we do actually with our customers, is that we produce, like when I say a decarbonization plan, it's actually a financial plan. So every opportunity of improving, we're going to look at what are the costs, what are the benefits, and it can be that in some cases it's better to invest in automation of the ERP with AI. Maybe in some cases it's better to focus only on one specific use case and go and trying to tackle the optimization of energy meters in one factory. That's really needs to be evaluated because, and we are very pragmatic. We have a very pragmatic approach. Of course, our name is D-carbonize, so that's our reason for being. But our customers, they need to be sound financially, and so we're going to look at what's going to have a CO2 impact, but most importantly, a euro impact, and that's what we're going to recommend for our customers.
Do you have a recommendation as well to that question? Should I reread it?
Yes, please repeat it.
I have to look for it again because I already... what would be the smartest first investment? ERP integration, machine energy sensors, or AI analytics?
Yeah, I think I'm not so into the ERP world. That's not where my expertise lies, so I could not really answer that.
So you say AI analytics, it's a safe with you.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think, Wiebren, this one can be for you. Do you believe Gen AI can genuinely democratize this progress for smaller manufacturers who don't have dedicated ESG teams or large compliance budgets?
Could you repeat that last bit, please?
I'm sorry, I'm rereading it. Do you believe Gen AI can genuinely democratize this process for smaller manufacturers who don't have dedicated ESG teams or large compliance budgets?
Yeah, that's a fair question, because we are a big bank. We have some teams and some resources available to have a sustainable IT team for people in the team, not focusing only on AI, but on all ESG aspects of IT delivery. So I would say join those coalitions that I talked about, because that is where a lot of the insights are shared, and a lot of the also solutions are shared, and for smaller companies you can really get some valuable data or interesting insights there, I think, and or solutions, because we are let's say in a favorable position indeed. So yeah, look for other places or on the internet to find out. But coalitions are a good place to start. Yeah.
Maybe just a compliment. I really believe indeed that AI will enable those smaller companies that don't have the luxury to be able to pay a full-time ESG manager. And actually, I said ESG manager role is transforming. But sometimes, in a way, it's disappearing in the current form. It's going to become much more closer to the finance team. It's going to be much closer to the operational efficiency, operational management. So actually, this role can be taken on by people directly in the finance team, directly in operations. The only thing is that you need to do a small investment at the beginning to set up the system, of course.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask this question when you say that that there's almost a new job for ESG managers. So my question would be, does that, or in which way does it change the skills that an ESG manager needs to have?
It's a very good question. For sure it's changing. It needs to change on the fact that it's going to be much more tech-oriented in the beginning, so especially when you have to set up all the workflows. But then it's going to become much more strategic and financial. So not only comparing solutions between how much they're going to impact CO2, biodiversity, and so on, but also be able to think strategically and financially for the company. So I believe it's going to become a much more financially oriented profile going forward.
Also the broader picture. Yeah?
Yes.
Interesting. Wiebren, I think there's a question to your tax idea. Politically, it is not possible to tax CO2 emissions in general. What makes you confident that this would be feasible on AI solutions?
Well, we have the ETS system in place. There's actually ETS 2 coming up. So there is a big industry already getting taxed on their emissions. So there can be another industry tax on its emissions. So I'm just spreading out the scope of the ETS system. Yeah.
how will this carbon tax differentiate between large companies and small startups? I think we have been there a bit, but maybe focus a bit more in terms of capacity, absorb additional costs, years of absorbing additional costs. I don't know if I read this right, but I think it's about what we just talked about. There needs to be a solution for all kind of company sizes. And I think this is where a lot of questions come in, so there's a lot of insecurity. Like you said, bigger companies, they have the power and the resources, and the smaller ones, maybe the smaller ones don't need to do as much, but they know that they want to do and need to do it in order to survive, like in the future world. So
yeah, so because maybe to continue on that, my previous answer is that because we have some resources to dedicate to this topic, then we can also challenge the sector better. We are a bigger company, we can even join forces with some other bigger companies, and then we challenge the sector, or we challenge the regulator to come up with either best regulation or more data in terms of, in case of the sector. But also smaller companies and mid-sized companies later on have the effect that things become more transparent and can then make conscious choices also, because there's more transparency in the footprint of the AI or the IT in general. So I think pressing for transparency, pressing for regulation, and pressing for that equal, let's say, playing field is important for big companies that are also under CSRD eligible to report, right? So they need qualitative data, and smaller and mid-sized companies can follow later on based on those insights and those data points. Yeah.
I think the core reason behind it is that there needs to be a financial gain. I mean, it's going to be affordable for any size of company as long as there is a financial gain for them behind it, which is not the case or like remotely the case for CSRD, for other form of reporting today. And that's what we need to change. That's what we try to focus on, because in energy and some form of decarbonization, you can actually make it profitable, and that's what we really focus on. And in that sense, like even like the war in Iran is helping out decarbonization, because it makes energy prices higher, and therefore companies start to see a financial benefit to decarbonize. But that's not a good reason. We should have a better reason to find ways so that it's profitable for companies, because then only they will move.
That's why you said forget regulations, because that's not what is going to drive it, right?
Yeah, of course it's a bit provoking, and I'm not saying that we should forget the regulation completely, but
it's stuck in my head, so it was right.
But at the micro level, I think as a company, if you're a company leader, you should stop focusing on what the regulation will do, where it's going to evolve, or so. Do it for your own sustainability as a company. And yes, I believe that regulations should be there, and probably they should be much stricter than they are today and go much further. But that's not in control of people like me, so and people, heads of CEOs of companies, smaller companies. So everyone needs to act at his own level.
Yeah, and before you think I'm only regulation-minded, I'm not. I'm a technologist by heart, but and that's why I also think AI can also help, right? Also in sustainability. We've seen Mythos now addressing all the from Anthropic, addressing all the security zero-day vulnerabilities, finding them apparently very rapidly. But what if AI could do the same for finding all the energy, let's say, drains very rapidly, right? So optimizing our code from an energy perspective and therefore for a carbon perspective. So I'm hoping that, and we are going that direction actually also in one of our tools, is where we get AI-assisted green coding in place, finding let's say the energy optimizations for code and trimming code bases down for finding the minimum they need. So then of course hosting it in the right place to the right grid mix is also still important, but slimming down your code base. On the other side of the spectrum, you will have your agents that are going to do things automatically or continuously. And maybe we'll all have our own agent doing things 24/7. And that will take a lot more code, or tokens, I should say, a lot more AI. So this is a little bit how do we use the technology. If it was here on stage earlier on already. Well, you can use it for the good and for the bad, and we will use it to trim down our code for lower energy use, lower emissions. So we will spin up all kinds of agents for our personal use that are roaming the internet for all kinds of things we let it to do, make it to do. So it is how we treat it, how we use it, right? Behavioral.
What we also heard in the talk of Frau Fischer, it's always about how we use it, because it's a lot there, but it's about how we do it. It's the human factor and everything, which I think is good, that it's still there. A question to you both, maybe the last one, looking at the time. So I assume we meet here next year, of course, for the next Transform It Europe. What would have to be different for you to say, yes, companies are creating real sustainable impact now? Who wants to start? That is a big one for the end of our session. Yeah. What would have to be different for you to say, when we meet next year, companies are creating real sustainable impact now? What would have happened?
Well, at my level, I think if companies have all optimized their energy consumption, I think we're still using far too much energy than we should. And also far too much fossil energy, and there's a lot of activities that still can be electrified, a lot of buildings that can be optimized. So if all companies have done their homework, because there's a financial gain for them to do it, that would be nice. And same for decarbonization, especially at the end of the life cycle of products, of services. How can we make sure that we value waste and that we create this autonomy? I think many companies are just starting to think about it, and they need to get much more ahead. Again, indeed to protect the planet and so on, but for most importantly to protect themselves in the short term.
What do you say, Wiebren?
Yeah, I would hope that it's come from an idealistic place. I think also that's where Jan comes from. I would hope that indeed those SDGs come again more into play. So we've seen again a tech push over the last couple of years, and again we have to fit it back into, let's say, our ESG and SDG world. Is how do we want to, what kind of world do we want to make? And I think that is important to keep on considering. Also now we got a new powerful tool. Is it just a tool to play around with, and again have a huge footprint that wasn't there before? Or are we going to do something useful with it to reduce our other impacts, right? And so that would be my takeaway.
Okay, so we meet next year and we will chat and see how far we got, okay? Thank you both very much. And we have our lunch break now, and we meet again at 10 to 2 here, where my colleague Bob Snyder will welcome you to the Smart Building, Smart City session. So have a good break and see you again later. Thank you very much.